Hello everyone. Today let's discuss an important concept under criminal liability, mens rea and actus rea. Mens rea means guilty state of mind and actus rea means guilty act. Both mens rea and actus rea must be there for it to be called a crime. First, I'll go forward with the introduction. Then we'll discuss what is actus rea, then what is mens rea, then various case studies which will help us understand the concepts better. And then there are differences to the concepts mens rea and actus rea. And then I'll be concluding my lecture. So, mens rea and actus reas are the foundations when it comes to criminal liability. To establish a criminal wrongdoing, it is important to know what is the mens rea and what is the actus reus. So the objective of this lecture is to first understand the meaning of mens rea and actus rea, and then I'll be explaining the different types of mens rea. Then I'll also discuss how mens rea and actus rea work together to contribute to criminal liability. And then we will see how the hypothetical cases can be applied to solve the problems of the modern contemporary criminal world. So there is distinction between accidental wrongdoing and intentional acts. Actus non feci reum nisi mens cetera, meaning the act itself will not be wrong unless there is a guilty mind. Let us discuss actus rea. Actus rea in Latin usage means guilty act. It includes acts as well as omission. If I push somebody and make them fall, then that is an act. But if I see somebody drowning but don't do anything, then that will be an omission. Both are recognized under actus rea. The elements of actus rea are conduct, circumstances, and consequences. In Rajiv Gandhi assassination case, the assassinators, through their conduct, that is bringing explosives to a public event, made certain that they had rivalry against our former Prime Minister, Mr. Rajiv Gandhi. The circumstances were that in the public event, they were about to go forward and assassinate Rajiv Gandhi, and the consequences, they knew that explosives would lead to fatality and death. Yet they went forward and executed the assassination. Shivarasan and Nalini and co were the ones who conducted the assassination. So you can see all the elements present in the Rajiv Gandhi assassination case. So the key element here is that there should be a conscious thought and effort by the perpetrators to commit an act. In Rajiv Gandhi assassination case, there were conscious thought on part of the perpetrators to go forward and assassinate Rajiv Gandhi. Even actus reus by omission is also recognized. Let me illustrate. Let us suppose that there was a traffic police who was asked to stop speeding vehicles. He stopped a speeding vehicle, but he forgot to go forward with breathalyzer tests to see whether they were drunk and driving. He knew that the drivers were drunk, but he nevertheless did not do the test. Then this is an omission. Here there is a guilty act. To constitute a crime, the second element is mens rea. Mens rea in simplest term means guilty mind. There are types of mens rea. The first one is intention. A puts a gun to B's head and pulls the trigger. Here, there is an intention to kill B, and thus it amounts to mens rea. The second one is recklessness. A throws a flower vase into the crowd, knowing that the consequences may lead to grievous hurt to somebody. Here also there is mens rea. The third type is negligence. A, who is a food manufacturer and who manufactures noodles, comes to know that in his manufacturing unit there are a lot of pests, and he nevertheless doesn't do anything to make the manufacturing unit pests free. B comes to know that the noodles packet that he was about to eat was full of insects. B files a case of negligence against A. Here, this is a clear case of negligence, and there was definitely mens rea on part of A. Knowledge. That is the fourth type of mens rea. In Rajiv Gandhi assassination case, the perpetrators knew that the bombs would lead to fatality and death. To constitute crime, both actus rea and mens rea are required. I'll be discussing about inchoate crimes in the coming slides, but know that if there is an attempt to even assassinate somebody, then that will also be considered to be equivalent to crime. That is nothing but inchoate crime. Let us discuss the cases later on, but before that, let me give you an illustration. Let us suppose that you are sleepwalking, and while sleepwalking, you end up stabbing somebody. Tell me in the comments whether that constitutes a crime. In R versus Cunningham, the accused removed the gas meter from a house with the intention to steal. The gas escapes and goes into the neighbor's house, almost killing the neighbor. Here, the accused pleaded that he did not know the consequences and he could not foresee the risk. In R versus Woolen, the concept known as oblique intention was introduced. The accused, out of frustration, threw a baby towards a pan. The accused knew that the act would lead to death, even though he did not have any intention. In R versus Larsener, the concept known as involuntary actus reus was introduced. Here, the accused had immigrated into England out of proper channels, but her immigration expired and she was detained in Ireland, but Ireland released her back to UK. When she was found in UK, she was held guilty of sneaking into England out of illegal means. Thus, she did not have any guilty mind, but her mere presence or act itself amounted to a crime. Let me give you an illustration. Let us suppose that you are witnessing a murder and you don't do anything. Here, later the court comes to know that you were one of the passerbys. You will also be asked to come to court because if not a perpetrator or an abettor, you will definitely be considered the one who did the crime. This is known as actus reus, which is involuntary. Let us now discuss the defenses to mens rea and actus rea. The first one is automatism. Sleepwalking is a type of automatism. If somebody ends up stabbing in a state of sleepwalking, they can escape liability by stating that they did not know the consequences of the act, and moreover, they were doing it involuntarily and without conscious thought. The second defense available is intoxication. A and B, both drunk, end up in a brawl. A ends up killing B. The defense of intoxication is available to A only if he can prove that he was not in a state of mind where he could draw rational conclusions or knew the consequences of his act. The third type of defense is the concept known as self defense. If A throws a stone at B, B can throw back the same stone at A. He cannot throw a whole boulder towards A. If A ends up shooting B's leg, B has to shoot only his leg and not to his chest. Next one is duress. Let me illustrate. Let us suppose that A is a Naxalite who ends up kidnapping B, who is C's son. C is an IAS officer. A states to C that he has to kill the CM. C, nervous as well as with an emotional attachment to his son, ends up killing the CM. In the court, C can plead that he did it out of duress. The next is necessity. Let us suppose that you were on a boat and there were two passengers. One was a male who was same aged as you, and the other was a boy of 9 years. All the three of you were sailing on the boat for more than 6 months. Later on, the boy says, "Please eat me because we are sick and tired of eating the fish, and out of necessity and for a greater good, I want to sacrifice myself." Both you and the other person decide and honor the words of the boy and end up eating him. You are doing it out of necessity. So the point is, will that act of yours be spared or not? In the comments, do let me know which case I am referring to here. Thus, I would like to conclude by stating that mens rea and actus rea are foundations to the concept of criminal liability. Mens rea means guilty mind, and actus rea means guilty act. The components of actus rea are conduct, consequences, and knowledge. And the elements of mens rea are intention, recklessness, knowledge, and negligence. In the comments, do let me know the answers to the questions asked. Thank you for listening to my lecture.